Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Let's look into the first question. Which of the following statements is are correct with respect to Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act? NDPS Act views drug offences very seriously and penalties are uniform irrespective of the quantity. It is only the central government which can add or omit from the list of psychotropic substances. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is 2 only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article here makes a mention of Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act. Let us try and understand what is this legislation all about. We have one of the important articles of the Constitution, which is 47. According to this directive principles of the state policy, it gives a note to the state. What does it say? It says that if there are drugs which are intoxicating in nature, which is going to be injurious to the health, such should be prohibited. The state will have to take precautionary measures except in those conditions where it is required for the medicinal purposes. In rest of the cases, what the government will have to come is with the law, which is why the government of India came up with Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act, basically to give rise to this particular directive principles of state policy. So this particular legislation is one of the major legislations in India which deals with the drugs and trafficking which happen to take place in India. When you look into the first option, it says NDPS Act views drug offences very seriously and penalties are uniform irrespective of the quantity. This is a wrong statement. Why? When you look into NDPS Act, it divides that particular drug or any of the psychotropic substances into two. What is it? One is called as the small quantity, the other is called as the commercial quantity. So when penalties are being imposed on a person, it depends whether he holds the small quantity or the commercial quantity. So it is not uniform. Yes, it is stringent, but that depends on what that individual holds. Let's say for example, if there is a particular person who is holding a ganja which is 1 kg, this belongs to the small quantity, but if it is about 20 kg, it comes under the commercial quantity. So the penalty will depend as to how much of ganja or any other drug this individual holds at the time of investigation or evidence taking. So the penalty is not uniform but depends on the quantity that person holds. Similarly, for MDMA, the small quantity is about 0.5 gram, the commercial quantity is about 10 grams, so it is not equal. Penalties will depend on the quantity of that drug or the particular psychotropic substance held by that person. When you look into the second statement, yes, it is only the central government which would be able to add or delete a substance from this particular legislation. The state governments have no role whatsoever when it comes to this legislation for adding or omitting these substances from this legislation. Now let's look into the next practice question. With reference to Madhur Kati match, which of the following statements is or incorrect? They are woven in Bihar. Women of the households are involved in weaving. Which of the statements are incorrect? Since it is asking for the incorrect statement, the answer to this is one only. Why? That is because when you look into the first statement, it is not in Bihar, but instead it is in the state of West Bengal. When you look into the second statement, yes, this statement is right. Why? That is because this is a tradition that is practiced in some places in West Bengal. Let's take for example Purba or Paschim Medinpur district. In such places, it happens to be a tradition where predominantly it is carried forward by the women. Now the question is, what is this Madhur Kati? This is also called as Madhur match as well. So these are the mats that which are produced in the state of West Bengal. These are the floor mats which are used in the West Bengal, and basically this was also awarded geographical indication status in the year 2018. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article here makes a mention of Madhur Kati. So kindly remember, Madhur Kati was awarded the geographical indication tag in the year 2018? It is nothing but a rhizome based plant found abundantly in alluvial tracts of Purba as well as Paschim Medinpur. So this is what you have to understand with respect to this article. There is another link article as well which speaks about the Kashmir's magic carpet. As part of assignment, you have to read this article and point out to me whether this has been given GI tag or not, and at the same time some of the important pointers for the preliminary examination will have to be put on the comment section. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following are erosional landforms due to glaciers? We have cirque, esker, moraine. Which of them are the erosional landforms due to a glacier? The answer to this is one only. Why? When it comes to cirque, yes, it is an erosional landforms, but when it comes to the esker as well as moraine, these are not erosional landforms, but instead they are depositional landforms. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article here makes a mention of the glaciers and the impact that is happening in Greenland. When it comes to the two types of glaciers, what we have is the erosional landforms, the other is the depositional landforms, which are the ones which fall under the erosional landforms. Let's take the example of Arate, Horn, Sirke, Glacial Trough. These are some of the erosional landforms. And when it comes to the depositional landforms, we have Drumlin, we have Esker, we have Moraine, outwash plain, so on and so forth. So when it comes to the erosional, remember this, it can be important from the preliminary examination, and at the same time we have to remember the depositional landforms as well. What does this article speaking about? When you look into this article, it currently goes on to say that there is rising temperatures that is happening. Why? Because of the climate change. Since there is increase of the temperature which is witnessing in Arctic, the same has been felt in Greenland. As a result, what we have seen is excessive rainfall in Greenland. Because of excessive rainfall, because of more rainfall in Greenland, there is temperature increase that has happened, and as a result, the ice caps that are present have melted, the snow cover that is present have melted, and as a result, there is increase of the seawater in this region. The rain that occurred in this region fell for nearly 7 to 9 hours, and as a result, temperatures have increased, and when there is melting of the ice, this ultimately goes into the ocean, and what we witness is rise in the water is what is this article all about. So the article goes on to say that there has been melting, and this has resulted into steaming into the ocean, causing sea level rises in Greenland, says this article. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this article. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements. It is a region in the North Central Africa near to the Hindu Kush mountain range. It is Afghanistan's last remaining holdout where anti-Taliban forces seem to be working on forming a guerrilla movement. The above statements best describes is it Spin Boldak, Panjshir Valley, Mazar-e-Sharif or Kunj. The answer to this is Panjshir Valley. So if you look into this particular question, what we are asking is for a location. Where is this location? It is in the North Central Africa. Where is it? It is close by to the Hindu Kush mountain range, and what we are speaking is in reference to the Panjshir Valley. It is this valley which currently has the anti-Taliban forces coming together, where there are forces in this region who are combating against the Taliban rule. So basically, this is one of the regions which is currently not under the control of Taliban. So forces have come together. They're planning to launch a guerrilla attack against the Taliban forces. We have discussed them in the past as well, and we also have one of the videos recorded by Sarmat sir recently about the Taliban rule. You can look into that video. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements. The Legislative Council of a state in India can be larger in size than half of the Legislative Assembly of that particular state. The governor of a state nominates the chairman of the Legislative Council of that particular state. Which of the statements given above is or correct? The answer to this is neither one nor two. When you look into this question, both the statements are wrong. Why? Because the maximum size of the council can only be 1/3 of the assembly, and it is not the governor who nominates the chairman. Instead, the chairman is chosen from amongst the members of the legislative council, which is why both the options given here are wrong, and this happens to be a previous year question from the year 2015. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day for today's discussion happens to be Haqqani Network. What is this Haqqani Network? This is one of the organizations, or you can call it as an extremist organization, that is operating in Afghanistan. This initially came into prominence in the year 1980. So what happens? This was led by one of a person called as Jalaluddin Haqqani. So Jalaluddin Haqqani was one of the prominent leaders who went against the Soviet rule in Afghanistan. He was also initially provided support both by the CIA of the United States of America, and he was also funded by Pakistan as well. Why? Because there was Soviet Union which was conducting its activities within the fold of Afghanistan. Both the United States of America and Pakistan did not want the Soviet Union to be operated in Afghanistan, which is why they started funding Jalaluddin Haqqani, who also owned this organization called as the Haqqani Network. There were groups which wanted to make sure that Soviet Union is not operating within the fold of Afghanistan. With time, Jalaluddin Haqqani became also close to other fundamentalist organizations, foreign groups as well, that which was led by Osama bin Laden. Again, in the year 1996, when Afghanistan was ruled by Taliban, he became one of the ministers in the regime as well. After his death in the year 2018, the Haqqani network was taken over by his son called as Sirajuddin. So Jalaluddin Haqqani's death made sure that his son took up the leadership position of the Haqqani network. What are the activities of this particular network? Basically, they are blamed for all the deadliest and most shocking attacks in Afghanistan. They engage in assassinations, kidnappings. In fact, they also kidnap people for the ransom and also put people and kill them as well. Such is the dreaded activity that is conducted by the Haqqani network, which is why they are given a tag of terrorist by the United States of America and also by the United Nations, because of the assassinations, because of the kidnappings, because of the ransomware that they collect. What we have is United States of America and United Nations have called this Haqqani network as a terrorist organization. The Haqqanis have also emerged as one of the serious players when Taliban will form the government in the near future. There are plans that at least two members from the Haqqani network will also be part of the government in Afghanistan when it is established by Taliban. The article further makes a mention of Diego Cordovez and the Cordovez formula. What is this formula all about? Who is this Diego Cordovez? He happens to be United Nations appointed special negotiator during the 1980s in Afghanistan. He was one of the important spokesperson representing the United Nations. He had conversations with United States of America. He had spoken to leaders in Afghanistan. He spoke to leaders in Soviet Union and ensured that Soviet Union withdrew all its powers and its operators from Afghanistan. So he happened to be one of the key players who made sure that Soviet Union invasion into Afghanistan does not continue and they withdraw their bases from Afghanistan. This peace formula is what is called as the Cordes formula. So basically, one of the prominent player who was engaged in talks with all the powers in Afghanistan back in the 1980 happened to be the United Nations representative, which is Diego Cordovez. The peace process that he established is what is called as the Cordovez formula. As soon as this peace process was initiated, we had the Soviet Union which withdrew, but then Pakistan continued with its activities in Afghanistan. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this article. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.